Hello everyone, welcome to a new episode. If you're new to the channel, this is a 3D modeling fan art project where we are reimagining the land of Hyrule in the art style of the Wind Waker. You know, if you've played Wind Waker, you know that all the islands of the Great Sea are the mountaintops of Hyrule, but we never get to fully explore Hyrule. We see the islands and we see a little bit of Hyrule near the castle, but that's it. We don't get to see the whole world below the ocean. And so this project is all about bringing that to life. It's Hyrule as you've never seen it before, in the art style of the Wind Waker. This is Hyrule Unflooded. So welcome to the channel. Welcome everyone. Just as a note, I say this in most videos, but just so you know, if you're new, if you're watching something in the video and you have a note, I encourage feedback and criticism in any of your notes, even negative criticism, right? I don't want y'all to be mean. Please be nice about it. But I do encourage if you see something and you just feel like, oh, that's not how I would do it. Or you just, you know, or whether it's that or a location that you want to see me work on that I haven't worked on yet, feel free to comment down below your suggestions and your feedback and criticism. And, you know, I read as many comments as I can. And that's all a way that, you know, I want you to feel like your voice is being heard. I keep saying that, but I really value the community aspect of this project and us being able to share this project. And I want everyone to feel like it honors the lore in the best way that it can. So I've said that before, but I just wanted to go ahead and voice it in case you're new to the channel. But today we're working on the Akkala Citadel, a famous location from Breath of the Wild. Really excited to kind of bring this into the world of the Wind Waker. I do think there's freedom, right, with this location, because I know that some of y'all have brought up with locations like Hateno Village or the Sheikah version of Kakariko from Breath of the Wild that y'all feel like, Joe, there's just no way that those locations would be built in the time of the Wind Waker, realistically. But there are some locations we see in Breath of the Wild that definitely, I think, could be built. Stuff like the Great Plateau, those are ruins, right? Stuff like the Akkala Citadel, who knows how long that's been built? Who knows? I think it's something that could be quite old. So I think there's freedom there. And I also think like there is freedom in general with locations. And I've said this before, but I do believe that Hyrule is a malleable place. And I think that Hyrule means something different in every game, and I think it's okay to pull from different games. That's my philosophy. And you know, so I don't know. I know that, you know, there's still people in the comments that are really against Breath of the Wild locations because of the timeline. You know, and I really want to respect the lore and the timeline, but I think it's okay to be kind of loose about it, and I don't want it to. If there's a location that I feel like is Hyrule to me, is a part of Hyrule, I want to be able to include that location, even if it doesn't perfectly mesh with lore. Because the secret is, if you're a Zelda fan, the lore is not going to mesh perfectly. Like, and I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry that it doesn't perfectly line up. But I do think that, like, that is part of being a Zelda fan, is recognizing that. And so to me, it's just like, I'm okay with being a little loose with the lore, because I think that's part of Zelda. And I think as long as it's to the benefit of the creativity of a project, I think I think that's okay. So I don't know. That's my take, and I believe that, and I think that is just part of being a Zelda fan is handling that to the best way that you can. Because I wish the lore clicked better. I don't want to talk too much about Tears of the Kingdom yet until I make like an actual review of it. Who knows? By the time this video comes out, maybe I've already recorded that. Who knows? I have some stuff pre-recorded, so I don't know when this video is coming out. I do want to do a review of Tears of the Kingdom. But it's something while playing, it's like I could start to see connections, and there's that part of my brain that unlocked. It's like, ooh, I can start to think about the timeline again. But then as I keep thinking about it, I go, wait, there's no way for this to fit perfectly in the way that I want it to. It's like I could force it somewhere, but it's also, it's like, and I haven't watched any other videos on the timeline yet. I know other Zelda YouTubers have made videos about the Tears of the Kingdom timeline. I just haven't watched them yet. I want to watch them after I finish writing my review. I want to watch and see what everyone else has to say after I finish putting down my thoughts, just to make sure that like I'm not parroting anything, because that's something that sometimes is easy for that to happen, and I feel aware of that. And this takes a level of self-awareness, and sometimes it's hard to admit that sometimes our opinions don't just come from what we think, but also from what we've heard smart people say. This is something I found, right? It's like after I listen to someone talk about something, I'll realize my opinions are changing. And I think that's a good thing. It's good to be like that and to feel that when you're listening to someone smart educate you, to feel like, oh yeah, no, they're right. That is what I think is true. Even if that wasn't my initial observation, whether that's about science or, you know, observations of politics. And I think it's great to have your own political opinions, but I also think it's good to listen to experts, you know, when they're presenting statistics. Politics is a little tough because people will present bias with that as well, but we're not getting into politics on the channel. But anyway, I guess like I do really want to encourage a malleable mindset. And I do think a mark of intelligence is allowing your mind to change when presented with better information. But I really want to be careful about that when it comes to criticism, because I do feel like there's a way that I felt about like Zelda games that have changed based on talking to other people about them and hearing other people talk about them. And I want to be able to write a review of Tears of the Kingdom so I can preserve my initial thoughts before they potentially get changed, because they could get changed. And I'm okay with that. And I'm okay if like I watch another video and that makes me realize, oh, I feel differently about, was the game hard or easy? Was it just that I wasn't playing efficiently? Maybe it's an issue with me and it's not an issue with the game. But I want to face all of that after I've written it down. I want to be able to judge the game based on what I can observe and then think about, oh, what am I wrong about? Because I guess that I'm just saying all of that if I come out with a Tears of the Kingdom review on this channel, I haven't watched anyone else's video about Tears of the Kingdom. Maybe I've talked about Tears of the Kingdom with my friends, but I haven't watched videos on it. So it's coming not from a place of deep discussion, but just from my own thoughts, which I think are valuable for a first video on the channel. But it just means that like there may be I may be inviting comments where y'all go, Joe, I don't think you fully thought through this criticism. I think that says more about you than the game. That's something we may run into. But anyway, just a little discussion about media criticism. I think it's time for I think it's a perfect time for a short message. If you want to be able to support me as a creator, there's several ways that you can do that. Become a member on Patreon. It gives you access to exclusive bonus features and early access content in all of my filmmaking projects. Stuff like early access to scripts that I'm writing, storyboards, previs, rough cuts, and music that I compose. I'm a composer, and any music that you've heard in the background of this video was my music. So go to Spotify or Apple Music or wherever you listen to music and type in Joe Kendrick. That's JoeKendrick. Look up Joe Kendrick on Spotify. And we're back. Hope y'all are all doing well. I hope y'all have enjoyed the break, but we are back in the video. I do want to invite y'all too. I don't know if you can see it really at this point in the time lapse, but I know for sure as we approach the end of the video, you'll see it as I build more of the Citadel itself. But in this video, there's not a path that fully reaches the top of the island. I'll just, spoiler alert, there's not yet. I haven't modeled that yet because I haven't figured out exactly how I want to approach that. Because I could keep like adding exterior stairs like they're part of the Citadel, or I could build into the landscape of Bomb Island, right? Into the mountainside. Because I have a part where there's like a part of the mountain where the Citadel stops, but the mountain keeps going. And I like that. And I'm just kind of debating, because that's what I'm leaning on is like, I think Bomb Island has a cave in it, right? In the Wind Waker. And so there could be a kind of exterior entrance to that cave, and kind of along that, you could see part of the cave in the mountainside and ascend to the top of the mountain with the path kind of wrapping around the mountain like that. I kind of feel like that's the way to do it. I just haven't fully thought through that, and I haven't modeled that yet. So, I don't know, comment down below if you have any ideas for how that should work. And, you know, because that's something where I want all the paths to connect, right? And because there's some stuff that like I wasn't always thinking about that on the channel. And so there's some locations I've had to like look at retrospectively or retroactively and go, oh, does all this make sense and connect in the way I want it to? Because like I've said before is right, like even if I'm not, you know, I made a video before talking about like a ROM hack is not possible. I don't think that's even a technical possibility as far as like bringing this in engine. But I am interested in like if there's a way to let the map be explorable, then I want the map to be modeled in such a way where that is possible. And I've showcased work before by Melon Speedruns that is might make that possible, being able to explore the map. Now of course, like what I show by Melon Speedruns, you know, that project is not going to be released in its current form. It's not, you know, we are not going to be distributing that project. So I want to be careful about that. But all this to say is that exploring the map is something I want to be thinking about, and making sure that paths connect in a way that would be conducive to an interesting exploration experience, is what I'm trying to say. And just like, this is something that I've talked about before in past videos too, but yeah, I mean, just like, I want to prioritize how it would feel to actually explore the map. And I want that to inform my creative decisions. It's not just about bringing the world to life, but it is about that philosophy of getting from point A to B. And so just like in that thought of like thinking about, well, what's the best way to get to the top of the island? There's different ways to get to the tops of islands. And sometimes that means having a path that wraps around the island, around the mountainside. Sometimes that means there's a bridge. There's not even a path on the mountainside, but you have to go from another mountainside. That could be an option. There's freedom there. And I think that, I think it's okay to embrace different solutions there. And I kind of like the idea of different islands having different kinds of solutions. And sometimes even if it is as simple as like, all right, the mountain has a mountainside path, how that connects can be an interesting puzzle in itself, right? Just being at one part of the map and going, I want to get there, but I can't just walk directly there. I would have to go down that path, and that leads me kind of to that side of the map, even though I'm trying to get over there, but I have to do that in order to gain verticality. I have to get to the top of that ridge before I can even go in that direction. And those are the kind of things that you're going to be thinking about just because of the innate design of the map. And I'm glad that that's a part of it. And that's something you get even just by looking at the map. And I really like that, right? I've said this before, that even just the experience of looking at the map, I want you to be able to think about all those things and to imagine all those things. I want to encourage y'all's imagination. And so this just to bring it all back around, if that awakens anything within you that changes the way you think about the world, leave a comment down below about locations that you want to see, any feedback you have, any criticism you have, locations that that you want to see implemented, all that stuff. I want to know what is inspired within y'all's imagination, what you want to see in the project, even small things, right? Even if it's not about major locations, what do you want to see in the world beyond that? What kind of details do you want to see? Feel free to comment down below any of those things, and make your voice heard. So yeah, I mean, all this to say, I think I'm going to start wrapping up the video, but thank you so much for watching. Just, I know we had the message in the middle, but just as a reminder, I want to let you know how you can support me as a creator. I recently launched a Patreon, and becoming a Patreon member gives you exclusive access to all kinds of bonus features from my filmmaking projects. I have a main YouTube channel that's dedicated to my filmmaking portfolio. You can subscribe there to see all kinds of short films that I've created. I haven't talked about them much on the channel. I'm happy to bring them up as they're relevant. But there's stuff you might be interested in. There's some 3D animation stuff that I've done for projects. And if you like Zelda, I think you'd be a big fan of the music that I compose. Becoming a Patreon member also gives you early access to music that I compose. And if you want to listen to that, though, on your own, look up Joe Kendrick on Spotify or Apple Music or wherever you listen to music. Any major music distribution platform, you'll be able to find my stuff. Look up Joe Kendrick. That's JoeKendrick. Look up Joe Kendrick on Spotify or Apple Music or wherever. And supporting my music helps the creation. Helps support the creation of everything that I do. Because I'm not monetizing this project. Wind Waker Unflooded is not monetized. If there's any ads on the videos, it's because YouTube is putting ads on the videos. I think that's a little skeezy because I don't think they own the rights to this content. So for YouTube to be making ad revenue, I don't necessarily think that that's right for them to do. But I just wanted to voice that if you see an ad, I'm not making any ad revenue. No matter how many views it has, no matter how many subscribers it has, that's something that I want y'all to know. So if you want to be able to support me as a creator, Patreon, or even just listening to music on Spotify, that makes a difference and is appreciated. Just in any way that you feel like you can contribute, that's welcome. But anyway, I've rambled for long enough. Thank you all so much for watching. As always, I'll see you in the next video. Comment what you want to see me model in the next video. But Anyway, without further ado, thank you so much for watching. I'm just wasting time at this point, but I'll let y'all go.